Hello friends, in this lecture we are going to look at two problems. The first one is that we have to design a deterministic finite automaton for string that is starting with 0 1. Okay, your alphabet is 0 1 and your string should start with 0 1. The next question is that your string must end in 0 1. Okay, so we have to design these two DFAs. So let's first look at the problem of designing a DFA for a string starting with 0 1. Okay, so what we should do, so whenever we start, I should see first a 0, then it should be followed by a 1, and the language looks like 0 1 0 1 0 0 1 1 0 1 0 0. So it means something like 0 1, after that you can have anything start. Okay, so let's start. So first symbol that we should get is 0. Okay, this is must, then only your pattern can be starting with 0 1. Next I must get a 1, and if I get this, I am done. Okay, so I have reached the whatever I need to accept. So this reaches the accept state, and after that whatever you get is fine for me. So 0 comma 1, whatever you get, that's fine. So I should get a 0, then a 1. After that I can get anything, that's fine for me. I will be in the accept state. But still the DFA is not complete. What if I get a 1 initially? If I get a 1, it means it's not starting with 0. Okay, so this is going to a reject state. Okay, so a dead state where now you can never find the pattern. So now even if you get 0 1 whatever, so it's not going to be accepted. After 0, if I get a 0 again, so it's starting with 0 0, which is again going to be wrong. So if I get a 0 here, then again I go to the dead state. Okay, from where I will never reach this state. So for each state 0 1 is done, 0 here, 1 here, and 0 1. Okay, so for each state now we have defined for both the alphabet transitions for both the symbols. And this, if you see, so let's take some examples and work out. So 0 1 0 0, let's see this string and let's name the states. So this is Q0, this is Q1, this is Q2, and this is Q3. So I'm at Q0, and what happens, I get, so Q0 I get a 0, so I will go to Q1. From here I get a 1, then I will go to Q3. Now you get a 0, I still remain in Q3. I get a 0, I remain in Q3. Okay, so this is accepted. But something like 1 0, so if I get Q0, I go to 1, so I go to Q2 state, and it's a dead state. Now whatever you will get, it will be in the reject state. So 0 1 0, I will remain in Q2, and it's not accepted. Okay, so this is the DFA for a string starting with 0 1. Our next problem was how to design a DFA that should accept strings ending with 0 1. So let's try to see DFA for string ending in 0 1, and your sigma is 0 comma 1. So let's try to think what should happen now. I have the start state, and finally I should get, if something is ending in 0 1, then it is fine. So the language is 0 1 0 0 1 1 0 1 1 1 1, then 0 1, something like this. So this is infinite language. So the important thing is whatever you get initially, finally I should get a 0 and 1. So let's try out start state 0 and 1. So this will be accepted if I get a 0 and when 1 and I go to the final state. But what happens if you get a 1 initially? So like 101. I can remain in the start state, okay? That I'm waiting for 01 in the end. That looks fine. What happens for something like 101 so I have 1 then 0 now 1 so 01 you get the pattern but again I get a 1 so what happens it means I'm not ending here and again I have to go because there is a 1 now 1 I need to go again and get a 0 and then a 1 only then I can complete so I go to this state on 1 from final state I go here. What if I get so 1 I okay so let's try to see. Yeah, so on 1 I go here but what happens if I get a 0? So I got something like I got a 0 here. It means I have got a 0 now if I get a 1 again I come to final state. So let's try to see 0 and then this state has 1 0 this state handles 1 this state on 0 what will happen so I need finally to accept I'm looking for pattern 0 1 so even if I'm already I have got 1 0 so now what happens if I get more 0 then also I am waiting for a 1 so then I can complete 0 1 so I will if I have got two zeros I get another 0 still I can complete 0 1 if I get a 1 so I will remain in the same state so 0 I will remain in the same state. Now we can see something like 1 0 1 1 0 will it be accepted let's try to see. So 1 I am here so q0 q1 q2 so 1 on getting 1 I'm at q0 on getting 0 I'm at q1 I on get a 1 I'm in the final state but I have not processed the complete string I get a 1 again it means okay so no I have now 0 1 I am not getting I go to the initial state okay on 1 and then I get a 0 I'm at q1 so this string is not ending in 0 1 so it is rejected. But what happens if I have 1 1 0 1 so I get a 1 I will go here again I get a 1 I will be at q0 then I get a 0 I will be at q1 and I get a 1 I will be at q2 okay so this tells us that now whenever a string is ending in 0 1 we will be able to identify it using this DFA okay so you can take any string and try out so I hope you understand this. Thanks a lot.